Okay, sit here back with another video. This one's gonna be called Why I Love Generalism. And to give an introduction, I will say, well, what is generalism? Well, to give context, we live in a society where most roles are performed in a specialist manner. That means that one person has depth of knowledge in a very, very narrow, narrow bandwidth of understanding, whereas generalism is more like, I guess you could call that I shaped. So one domain, whoop, and then deep, 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 deep knowledge, whereas a generalist is more T shaped, a broad range of knowledge with a few specialties, maybe a few specialties. So kind of like a T, or a triple down T if you have three specialties. But the point is to have a lot of knowledge in a broad range of skills. And what this actually creates when you go across is a depth of understanding or isomorphic understanding, which basically means seeing the underlying structure across many disciplines. And that's one of the reasons why I love generalism, is because it teaches you that no discipline is isolated when you gather enough of them. So, to speak from personal experience, I have experience in design, coding, strategy, communication, sports, martial arts, dance, writing, many disciplines. And I do see that underlying structure beneath them all. It also helps with something called meta learning, which is the ability to learn better or develop learning strategies because you're learning so many different things in different domains. And this is another reason why I love generalism. So basically, what I think is that schools train us generally at first. We have a wide range of subjects, but then students are encouraged to there's kind of a selection pressure because people love to ask young children, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do for the rest of your life? And I think this is a very unfair thing to ask because how can you ask someone what they want to do for the rest of their life? I mean, sure, it helps society because it is an organization thing. It's reliable. If one person does one thing, then that's extremely reliable and you can trust them to do that one thing well. And I think society is made up of little blips of people doing one thing extremely well. You know, you have your barista who's serving coffee to the lawyer, who's legislating for the government, who's providing roads for the people, and then the coffee person walks on the road to get to their barista job. And society kind of coalesces like that. But if you really want to have a view on what life is all about, I personally recommend generalism because generalism lets you see in the gaps between how this coalescing structure works. So if you understand a little bit of economics, a little bit of sociology, a little bit of psychology, and a little bit of law, you'll understand institutions, and institutions surround us in the form of schools, hospitals, uh, what else? Schools, hospitals, uh, business institutions, so corporations, stuff like that. And yeah, so you can see how four discrete disciplines will give you the ability to understand on a higher level, kind of like a bird's eye view, what is going on in society, which is cool. And that's why I recommend journalism. In fact, I think in the day before the Industrial Revolution, which really segmented us like machine parts or cogs, deep specialists, I think people were more generalistic. They lived on farms where you have to know the cows, the sheep, the fences, the water structure, the irrigation. stuff like that. So a farmer is a type of generalist, and also hunter gatherer is a type of generalist. You know, you're making your weapons, you're hunting, gathering berries, relationships, networks, other things for the subsistent layer of living, and then enjoyment of living, such as art, ecstatic dance, etc., etc. So we really were generalists through the hunter gatherer period, the agricultural period, and even through uh, further farming periods towards the creation of the Gutenberg printing press, Enlightenment, Renaissance, and then industrialization is where we became highly specialized because we mechanized our society to create ourselves as cogs, components in the greater machine of things. And what a modern generalist is able to do is able to look over that historical structure and is able to find patterns and see the great tapestry of humanity and what our society really is. And it's definitely a strength in that point. I will say there is a weakness to generalism, which is that you're not a specialist. So you won't easily be able to remunerate yourself in the form of an employment contract, which is why I make these videos and create other digital products to uh, make money, because it's just a bit harder that way. It doesn't mean we lack insight. It doesn't mean we don't have value to add value to the world and to society. It just means the channels by which we do so have to be more curated than a simple employment contract. And yeah, I suppose that's an intro to generalism, and also why I love generalism. It helps you understand people across contexts, across lengths of time, periods in history, and also it's very fun when you get down to the learning part of it because you do develop different learning strategies and see how they cross pollinate, like the honeybees cross pollinate into different fields. And yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about in this video today. I definitely encourage becoming more generalistic. Even if you are a deep specialist, uh, that eye shape, you can still broaden yourself slightly, and we all do when we read books about different subject matters, whether it's fiction or non-fiction. When we pick up an instrument, pick up a sport in our spare time, sometimes the skills that you gain, they stack and help you perform your specialist role better. So even a dose of generalism, you don't have to be a full-blown generalist like me, but even a dose of generalism is healthy for a well-rounded human being. So I guess I'll leave the video there today. Thank you very much for watching.